slow out a little bit. It might be. Yeah, I was pretty good out there, but if you wanted an idle slower, there's one for the top of that. You could turn the out down here. Not so low and go for it. Oh, there now. I thought you would like slower now. Not too bad. Well, I don't definitely go out the wayside. Good forward. Yeah. We'll get rid of that one. I'll take him a job.
Sure. Ain't right on that.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't make any points for this.
I made what I need. Other than that, well, it was like a flag, like a market out. I was going to chalk something and see if
You want to say anything to the YouTubers? You know, you're being immortalized.
Yeah, I know. I've been on YouTube, man. When I'm around you, I'm always on YouTube.
Well, I know that you know everybody was really curious about how your date went the other night. So I don't know if you wanted to elaborate. Give us
No,
any
we're not going
details.
to elaborate.
You're not going to elaborate.
No.
All right.
She's not ready for prime time.
Okay. I'll turn this off then. If you ain't going to give us any details.
We ain't getting any details. Turn it off.
Well, the sun just came out. That's a beautiful thing. I'll take sunshine. Let's see now. We're looking at there's my motor. So I think I got all that set. So let me go ahead and put the top of this breather cover back on. Put a little tiny squirt of gas in each one of the cylinders, and I'm going to turn it enough to pump it out. I hold spark plug wires away from the cylinder while I do that. And I'm going to flood it, but I like to have a little gas in there. I'm going to put the plugs back in her. I guess we'll be ready to try cranking her up. I'm going to put y'all over here so that if it should crank, we don't wind up making a mess out of y'all and everything. That sounded good. Let me pump the bulb on this thing. Doesn't feel like it. What did you stop for? I didn't tell you to stop.
Yeah, I was pretty good out there, but if you wanted it out slower, there's one for the top of that, right? You could turn the out around here. Not so low and go for it. Oh, there now. I thought you would like slower now.
Not with that. Well, I don't definitely go out the wayside. Move forward.
Yeah. We'll get rid of that one. I'll take him, Joe.
Well, that's sure. Ain't right on that.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't make any points for the.
I made what I need. Other than that, well, it was like a flash. Not like margins out.
I was gonna chop something and see if
You want to say anything to the YouTubers? You know, you're being
yeah, I know. I've been on YouTube, man. When I'm around you, I'm always on YouTube.
Well, I know that everybody was really curious about how your date went the other night. So I don't know if you wanted to elaborate. Give us
No,
any
we're not going to
details.
elaborate.
You're not going to elaborate.
No.
All right.
She's not ready for prime time.
Okay. I'll turn this off then. If you ain't going to give us any details.
You ain't getting any details. Turn it off.
So I just thought that y'all were running the whole time that I showed you how I made a pin out of a nail to hinge that float and then put all that back together. But y'all weren't running because sometimes I think I pushed the button and I didn't. But, so, you didn't get to see that. But what you can get to see maybe, I'm going to try to put that carburetor back on that motor. And then put that little piece on the side that goes on it back on. Without dropping any pieces down in there, which is not where I want anything to go. Or without getting that rag involved in any of this. Once I got the flywheel off and that little side piece off, this part shouldn't be too bad here. I can get my fingers in there. I bought me a new magnet today. It might be just what I need to get that bolt down in there. I may need a screwdriver. Hold it in place while I try to figure out how to turn it. What I'm going to need to do is put this in here. Put the screwdriver on the back side of it. Pull the magnet out and get my wrench. Make sure my rag ain't stuck to. Next to the hardest thing is getting that bolt on there and getting it tightened up. The one I'm going to do after this one is going to be the hardest thing. I'm going to grind the file here a little bit. One of the good things about having cheap tools is no great loss if you want to grind the edge off one in order to make it work. I bought an expensive Craftsman wrench and ratchet in up at the flea market the other day. But I was thinking, I like the idea of having them and being able to acquire them. But, you know, I don't mind using these cheap tools if I have to get done what I need to get done, because they work just as well as the expensive ones for the most part. Probably get out my little hand grinder and get more grinding done, but I was sort of hoping that I could do this without having to do that. That's a pretty good grinder for sharpening your knife. It's probably not nearly coarse enough for what I'm doing with it. Maybe just go get my hand grinder and do that. It's too hot to touch right now. I bought a new gas line to go on this. But I think before I go to that, I'll try to get this other piece. The other piece was the one I was talking about being so difficult to get into place without messing things up. So how many boat mechanics you think's had their hands on this baby during its lifetime? How many other guys have assembled this thing back together? That ain't gonna work that way. I'm gonna have to turn that around. It's not gonna be good because it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. It might work at the right angle though. Might work right there. I might have to turn it around. This is a pretty tough fit right here. There went that washer I didn't want to drop. I may have to reverse this wire. Or then again, maybe not. Yeah, I think this thing might have to be reversed. This little wire ticky. I don't know if that's doable or not, but I might have to. Might have to take the carburetor off to do it, I don't know. You know, maybe I need to take the carburetor off. I think I do. I'm going to put that on there and then put it back on. It ain't that hard to get off now that I got my wrenches cut down. See, the reason I had to take that back off is because this little wire thingy needs to go on from up under here, if that's possible. I don't see how it's possible, even with it off. Ain't that odd. Came off of there. Should go back on there. Maybe you can run it through. Maybe I have to take this off to get to it from there. I can do that too. Ain't too many things I can't do if I set my mind to it. Now, what I'm going to try to do is to slip that bowl out of the way. Slip this in from this side. There's got to be a way. It came off of there. Maybe that's why Butch said he saw a YouTube guy take this shaft out. Right here. Maybe that's why he took it out. Might be what you have to do to get it on there. When you're working on a carburetor, to get into a situation where you can't figure out how all the little things go back on there. And this is how this one goes back on there. This crooked piece of wire runs on the outside, and this goes up, and this bolt goes through there, and it works like that. And that was very difficult for me to wrap my brain around while I was trying to put this together, because I was thinking this thing laid over the other way, which it doesn't. Now, to get this back together, I've got to take this off to get that bolt on there and then put it back on. But what I want to do is kind of take it off and lay it forward, put the bolt on there and lay it back on, because it's pretty difficult to get it all in place. Now, lay it here. So, I guess y'all are still running. So that's the hardest part of this, was figuring that out. Now that I got it figured out, I believe what I can do, bring it over in here, slide it into place. Now I want to keep some rags and stuff under here, but I don't want them to get in the way of the carburetor. So I slide this right there. So what this does is, when this timing advances, it moves this thing. And now that that's right there, now I need to take it off, slide it forward, and then slide it back, which is pretty tricky to do. So probably what I want to do is loosen up this screw here, have it where it's almost off, and I'll set it over in there. I hope I never have to do this again. In fact, I hope that I have this fixed so that I don't have to do it again on this motor, because much of a pain as it's been already. Boy, I would really see. I think what I've done is I've kind of I tried to kind of lay that over, but it fell down in there. But I still got my washer, and I think I can pick it up and bring it back around once I get that bolted on. So I'm gonna go with that. But this is what makes working on this difficult. Everything else, well, I don't know though. Then we had that shaft that wouldn't come out in the carburetor. That wasn't easy. I get my magnet. I'll be happy to have it done though, and I'll be really happy to have it done and have it running. I'd love to take it back to Butch and say, ta-da! That's what everybody wants to do. You know, you get some kind of a motor like this to work on, and the whole thing is to be able to say, I fixed it. You know, after the fact, you go back to your friend, your wife, your relative, whoever it is, and you say, look, I fixed it. Look how smart I am. I mean, isn't that what we all want? We want people to see how good we are, how smart we are, how capable we are, how we are able to make bad things good again, all that. That's kind of what it's all about, ain't it? Of course, if you add into that the love of God, you know, because one of my pastors has been talking about, you know, loving God, doing things for others, and all that. Then you get, look how good I am, and look, God, how much I love my neighbor, that I was willing to go through all this crap to make this work. Now, I will say, like so many other things, it's a lot easier after you had it on and off there 4 or 5 times, which is exactly what I've done here. I've had it on and off and on and off and on and off, took it apart, put it back together. Usually, if I take something apart and put it back together about 10 times, by the time I do it the final time, I've got it figured out. I think that is the key to being a good mechanic, is being willing to keep taking something apart, putting it back together. Mike Hall, who we all know, he died a while back. He fixed my neighbor's. He had a Dodge truck, and the front end was messed up on it. He had to put shocks on it, and I think it had something like strut shocks or something. It was very difficult to do. And Mike told my neighbor Lee that he said, I wasn't going to let it beat me. And see, that's what made Mike a good mechanic, is he would determine that he wasn't going to let a mechanical problem get the better of him. He would fix it. He would figure it out. He would stay with it till he got done, and it got done right. And if he had to do it over and over and over again, he would. Because he wasn't going to stop till it was right. He wasn't going to stop till it was fixed. It's actually what makes a good mechanic, is somebody that's stubborn enough to keep trying until they get it right. Maybe a little tighter than it needed to be, but I think it's on there good. Double check this other side. That's good. Is that good? Well, the sun just came out. That's a beautiful thing. I'll take sunshine. Let's see now. What are we looking at? There's my motor. So, I think I got all that set. So let me go ahead and put the top of this breather cover back on. Put a little tiny squirt of gas in each one of the cylinders, and I'm going to turn it enough to pump it out. I hold spark plug wires away from the cylinder while I do that. I'm going to flood it, but I like to have a little gas in there. I'm going to put the plugs back in her. I guess we'll be ready to try cranking her up. I'm going to put y'all over here so that if it should crank, we don't wind up making a mess out of y'all and everything.
That sounded good.
Hope he pumped the bulb on this thing. I feel like it. What did you stop for? I didn't tell you to stop. So I'll put y'all back up here where you were. I got y'all hanging. Y'all like a trapeze artist. You're hanging by that piece of wire right there. And I'll get on with that. If I had two people here, I'm going to call up Butch and see what he's doing. I have one hold this and then put a wrench on this. Oh, see, that one came loose. That's good. Let's try this one here. This is one of the spots where I need a vise. Well, let's go ahead and take this one out when it does turn. See, this has a hole through it, and I can see the hole. You probably can't. But there is a hole through the center of that. It's actually smaller than this drill bit. But that hole must be open because gas needs to pass through that. Sometimes I can find a little piece of wire and push it through that hole. Since that's such a small hole, I need something. Oh, there's a little tiny drill bit. I started saying I need something about the size of it. Maybe a small paper clip. But I don't want to drill that hole. In other words, I don't want to make a bigger hole because the size of that hole is important. If I drilled a hole in it and made it bigger. Some people used to do that in hot rods and stuff, but sometimes you can, a little bit is too much, and that's a specific size hole there. I can see light through it, so it's actually open. I can blow through it a bit. It's going to make my lips burn because it's got that gas and everything on it, but I know it's open. So I'm just going to sit that down in there. Sometimes there'll be a little ball in these things. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to squirt some of this carburetor cleaner right in the gas line, and it should come out right there. See that? So the other, see, this is a shaft, so I don't have to blow that out. And this here is a choke butterfly, so I don't have to worry about blowing that out. The other thing that I have to clean out, though, is there's a long, I call that other thing a needle valve, but there's a long needle valve, and it really looks like a needle, and it's in here. Gas passes down through it, and it spreads out. You can kind of see it. If you look down in there, you can see that shaft up and down. That's the needle valve, and it has some really tiny little holes in it. It has to be very clean. So, that did the trick. I like these screwdrivers that has this end on there. You can do that sort of thing. That'll give you a little more pressure than you can get with your hands. There. Now we take this out. You know, this thing here is down in the bottom of the bowl, so vacuum sucks gas up through this. Now, this also has a hole in it which should be clean. In this case, it's closed. It's not clean. I may can stick a wire through that hole. Oh, I may can blow that out. Let's see, it might have some side holes too. It may not be a hole. I might be wrong about that. It's gonna have a little bitty threaded screwdriver hole down inside there that takes it out. So I'm gonna need a little bitty skinny screwdriver. It'll go down in that hole. Smaller than that. No. That is about the right size. See if I can blow that out with the air compressor. It's going to be noisy, y'all. Well, I was able to get that piece that was here open with some air and with some of this, and I put it down there in there to soak. And I've got a little screwdriver it's almost too little that I'm trying to turn in there. I need to find a screwdriver that's somewhere between that and that. So let me keep looking. I might have to grind one. I'd rather not. Sometimes it's all about finding the right screwdriver. So I just reached off and snipped off a piece of wire like we got hanging here on the wall. Fit right in there quite snugly. So I'm going to, it's not quite long enough though. I should have snipped off a little longer piece. I'm going to push that back out and get me a longer piece, put it back in there. That way we don't have to order a kit. Almost long enough. I may can just put this in there and turn the ends of it. It's got to really sit there. It's a little wobbly, you see that? I don't think I want it wobbly, so I think I'm going to have to come up with one that's a better fit. Now this drill bit looked like it was a pretty good fit a while ago. I might need a piece of wire that is about that size. See when that goes in there. See, that's a good solid fit. It's the right size. I don't know if I could find the right size piece of clothes hanger wire. The one that came out of here was plastic. Almost not long enough though. Oh, let me look around and see what I got. Quite big enough either. Well, I'm gonna look around and see what else I can find. There's still a little piece of that plastic left in that tube right there. Rained all day yesterday, so I hid out in the house all day. I didn't hide out. I stayed in the house and made videos and such. I'm going to be working on Butch's motor today. I'd like to get back there, and my shed is just about in the right space and time. What I mean by that is the poles are cemented into the ground. It rained last night, so the concrete got good and wet, and then it's dried, and it's had time to harden up good. So I'll be wanting to work on that, but I want to finish his motor. I put his carburetor in I had an old bottle of, it was like a, what do you call them? Injector cleaner that was in the truck when I bought it. I poured that in there, and I poured some gas in there. I started to pour I want to say ibuprofen, but it's, oh, what's that stuff? Chemicals. I started to pour some more chemicals in there. Acetylene, no, not acetylene. Well, anyway, there's some chemicals I was going to pour in there, but it looks like it cleaned up pretty well. I mean, it was really, really, really nasty, and must have some good stuff in that jar of what I poured in there, because that looks pretty clean. So what I'm going to do today, first thing, is go back to trying to get this pin right here out. And if that comes out, then this comes off, and I'll be able to get to the needle valves, and hopefully this thing will be loose enough to take it off. I got y'all on a little tripod, but I'm thinking maybe I could hang you up here on the wall in such a way where I could point you down here toward what I'm working on. I don't know for sure if that would work, but it looks to me like you're pointing right toward what I'm doing here. So I'll just have me a sit down here in my semi-comfortable chair, and we'll see if we can take that apart. And I wanted y'all to be watching in case I take something apart and can't remember how that got apart and how to get it back together, and go back and look at the videos. Sometimes it helps me to be able to go back and look at what I done did in order to see what I need to do to make it all go back together. Oh, the joy. So I'm not going to talk a lot during this process, because when I talk a lot it uses up video time, and sometimes I can just fast forward through all this work. So I'm just going to proceed along at a pace. What I may wind up doing is drilling this out, and then going online and ordering a carburetor kit that has one of those in it. Not being real cooperative about coming out. Tempted to try with this drill bit to start running it through there, because it may be that it would grab this and spin it and take it out. Either way, it's got to come out. And go get me a drill. I'm just gonna drill it, and then I'll order that part if I need to. Another thing I could do if I had to, I'm pretty sure that I can order. I saw some kits that had that piece in it, but you know, I could make one of these pins out of a drill bit that size. That is a 3/32, I believe. It might be a 7/64, but it's right in there somewhere. It's one of those two. Let's see what happens if we give it a little drill bit activity. One of those moments where if I had a vise, it would be nice. Hey, I made a rhyme. What I don't want to make it do is make that hole bigger. Another thing I could do, try heating that. don't like drilling it because I can see that soft aluminum is coming out of there more so than I want it to. I'm gonna get a lighter and just see if I can heat it up with like a cigarette lighter thing. What I'll do is take this one and grind it on my little grinding wheel over there. That's actually turning out to be a pretty good grinding wheel. I don't know if y'all remember when I bought that and mounted it on that chair over there. Lots of times you can get these cheap Chinese grinders and they don't have enough motor power to grind anything. You go and hit them, put a piece of metal on there and try to grind it and they'll stop. You don't have enough power to keep the wheel turning when you're trying to grind. That one there must be an older one and a good one with a decent motor. All my tools is kind of piling up here. Let's see if we can get this thing turned down in there. I noticed that when I put this fluid in here, it goes down in there, which means that it's open, but I don't want to trust that. I'd rather get it out so that I can blow through it and make sure that I'm getting enough stuff going through it, because it's a lot to put one of these back together and put it back on there, and to have it not be right would be highly disappointing. I might need a fatter one than this. I might have to grind another one. I may try putting that together as it is. And I am getting the stuff to pass through it pretty well. Blowing out air passages, things like that, seems to be working pretty good. You can see when I put this in here, it runs through and comes out where it's supposed to. I got one more valve I haven't taken out. That's this one. This is a kind of like an idle screw valve, I guess is what you call that. Take my screwdriver collection there. And I want to count the turns on this when I take it out. And there's not a mark on here, so I'm going to need to kind of have a good idea of where a starting point is. What I'll do is I'll turn it in first, see how far it takes it to close down, and then come back. So from right there, I would say that was 2 1/4 turns. Am I wrong? No, I probably am. It's probably 1 3/4. I may have started it. No, it'd be 2 1/4. So I think 2 1/4 turns from the bottom is where I need to be with that. So I'm going to ease that out. We're just going to clean up whatever's inside of there. It's got another little needle valve there, and it does similar to what all the others do. It basically that regulates how much gas can pass through this thing in certain areas. Stuff is passing through it. So I'm going to blow all this out. I think I might just try putting it back together and see if it'll run. This would be a good place to use one of the little butane torches if I had one. I don't really want to set the carburetor on fire. I don't want to set this on fire. I don't want to melt any of that stuff up under there either. I'm gonna try this little bit, little drill bit, instead of that big one. What I'd like to do if I'm gonna drill this out is drill the piece in the middle and not get it involved with the aluminum on the outside. You can see I'm going down through that. You can see the stuff coming off it. And the drill bit got crooked. Went through there a little crooked. Got into the metal, the side metal a little bit. Let's just see if that, I've loosened that up enough where I can push it out now. Yeah, it's coming out now. So that's out of there. Let me take this little bit and run it through. There's still a broke off piece on the other side of that. I'm going to take that little bit, run it through from the side here back into there. Oh, no, it came out. Okay. So let me dry my hands off and I'll show y'all. Hey, baby. So in order to explain how this carburetor works, or how carburetors work in general, you'd have to imagine this upside down. See, this thing, right now it is upside down. And there's a little thing that's a bowl that goes over this. This is a float, and this floats in gas here. And this little thing right here is a needle valve, and it goes in that hole. And when this float goes down, keep in mind I'm moving it up, but that would be down if it was upside down and had the bowl on it. So when the bowl runs out of gas and this goes down, that opens that valve. And when this rises, it closes the valve. So as this fills up with gas, it shuts the gas off so that you don't flood your carburetor with too much gas. Now there's little passageways. If I take this out, there'll be one. If I take this out, there'll be one. This little throttle screw here, there'll be one in there. This shaft I don't need to take out, but there's something right above it. I may need to pull it out, although I don't see any threads. Oh, okay. I think all this is a keeper for this shaft, but so I may not need to take that out. So it may be that all I have to really take out is that screw, and what I'll do when I take it out is I'll count the number of turns. I'll put it back with the same number of turns, and then hopefully these things have loosened up. They were pretty stuck the other day and I couldn't turn them. Maybe I can get them to turn today.
I just have a hot date at Richards tonight about 6:30. So.
Do you really? What time is it now?
Oh, I don't know. I figure about 5:30 it gets dark.
Because what I can do is we can spray oil all over this and put it in something.
Well, if you'd rather do it that way and let it sit and make it easier, that's fine.
Well, my thinking is that you could drop a boat right there, and you could go prepare for your hot date. Take a video camera with you and get pictures tonight. I get a lot of hits if you got some pictures.
That would be incriminating.
Well, yeah.
I will incriminate myself. Come on, get right.
Get you to incriminate a lot of people if I can.
I'd have to have a long chit chat with Reverend Jim.
Imagine all the people would want to see that. Y'all tell me out there, wouldn't y'all like to see that? These are pretty handsome feller for his age. Just imagine, I bet he'd have a big time tonight. We'd all get to, all us old folks is too old to be out on a date or anything. Besides, I'm married. I can't. You got all kind of crap in here. I can't believe you got that much dirt in there. And you ain't been dragging it around in the.
I told you, it's been sitting up for at least 2 years,
don't
if
say
not
that
longer.
again. You've said that so many times. I feel like I don't want to hear it anymore. Let's do that.
You want to let that set so you can get it out. Let's do that and make it easy on you.
Well, I'm not so much thinking that, but I am thinking it might be easier on everybody if we gave this a good soak down about as much as I can. Now I could go ahead and take off this part that I can probably get off here. This thing right here, because it's going to have. This thing's got so many little valves and things in it.
Well, that's the end of the carburetor. Don't try this at home.
Yeah, let's let it soak.
I think you're going to have to let it sit up.
Well, it wouldn't be the best thing to soak it in. Something I could pour in there. I got some. I know it might be good.
Now, we don't have any gaskets left in there, do we?
Yeah. It's got gaskets. I think gaskets should be fine. You know what I'm gonna
Even
do?
if you let it sit up in.
This gasket, I'm just going to pour it in there with it. And let that sit all night. This was in the dash of that blue truck that I bought. And so
Oh, really?
I didn't pay high dollars for it.
You still want one of those Jeeps that Wendell's got, don't you?
You know I've got one up home, right?
Yeah, I saw the pictures
The
of
one
it.
with the snowplow on it. It's very much like one he's got. He's actually got one. I don't think he wants to sell the Army Jeep, which I really am glad he didn't want to sell it to me. Because if he did, I'd feel like I had to buy it. It's like that outboard motor back there. I didn't really want one, but when I found out I could get one, it's like, dang, who knows if I'll ever. And then now that I got it, I'm thinking, what do I buy this thing for, And that Jeep would be like that, except it'd be too valuable for me to get rid of it. So by him not selling it to me, that's a good thing.
That was a good thing.
But then he's got another, and he's got a CJ5. Mine owns the CJ7. That's the one it came out with in the 70s with the bigger doors. And that one's got a V8 in it.
But that was a later model.
Huh?
That wasn't a World War.
It is a later model, but it's an interesting vehicle because it's got the V8 and it's a CJ5.
Was that when American Motors still had it, or
that was before American Motors? There wasn't no American Motors back then. It was a Jeep.
Yeah, it was Jeep, and then they merged with American
Motors.
Jeep went with Nash.
Well, no, Nash was around before Jeep or Jeep.
Yeah, but somehow or another Jeep and Nash got involved.
Well, again, I mean,
Hudson got involved in that when they went to
Studebaker.
Yeah.
A lot of these early car companies merged and became in and out with each other down through the years. In fact, in the early days, you could take the heads off of a Studebaker and put them on a Chrysler, and they'd run better because you could adjust the Studebaker heads, but they'd fit right on the motor. And a lot of things were like that, but then and a lot of companies came and went and came in and out of existence. Kaiser, all kind of stuff like that.
And if the Dodge brothers had stayed alive, they would have wrecked Ford and come back.
I don't know about that. I don't know. You talking about outsold them?
Well, Dodge was the one who basically kept Ford alive until they went off on their own, according to the historians.
See, Butch is a historian. Now I can talk stuff, and it's just we abbreviate the stuff.
If you read Henry Ford, the original Model T stayed put for almost 20 years.
Yeah,
which is to most people mind-boggling. One model vehicle stayed at the top of the chain for over 20 years.
Yeah.
The Dodge brothers were working for Henry Ford and kept making upgrades to Model T. However, Henry Ford, according to them, wasn't being so friendly in the paycheck end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they eventually went out on their own. And they forced Henry and his son, Edsel, to upgrade the Model T along with General Motors, who was pushing Chevrolet at the time. And unfortunately, they only lived a couple of years after founding the Dodge Motor Company. And then Dodge sold to Chrysler, or their inheritance sold out to Chrysler because nobody wanted the car model. But they were the innovators after Henry. Henry did the Model T, and then Dodge brothers became the innovators after that, before Chrysler got involved.
There you go. So if you want to know something, just ask the historian. Unlike me, see, most of the stuff that I come up with can be qualified with the initials B and the initials S added. Because I can make things up faster than I can read a
But
book.
car companies came and went.
They did.
I laughed when the government bailed out General Motors. There were so many car companies that came and went in the early days that nobody cared. So, so General Motors goes down the wayside. There are 100 car companies out there to take its place.
Yeah.
There are all kind of small independent car companies out there.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have hurt vehicles. General Motors could go away. We wouldn't hurt for vehicles.
Yeah. Okay.
Why do we bail them out now when they didn't bail them out back in the day? We could still have a Hudson.
You're a bureaucrat. You understand about this stuff.
Wait a minute. As my buddy on Facebook calls me, I'm how does he put it? Bible-toting, gun-carrying, Georgia cracker, Southern redneck.
Okay.
And I like that term.
I like that term. Is that the guy that's always bad mouthing you? Is that one?
Oh, that was Dwayne.
Yeah, no, don't say any names.
I don't care. Calm down, Dwayne.
He won't never watch this YouTube stuff anyway. I'm gonna set my tools. I'm gonna organize things, but just leave the boat right where it's at, and we'll leave everything pretty much where it's at. I'm gonna say goodbye to y'all for now. Bye to y'all for now. You say bye to y'all. You say
bye.
Bye. Say bye, everybody. Now what I'm going to do now is just bring the Rambler back here and park it right here. We'll call it a test fit. I'm pretty sure it's plenty big, but I just want the joy and the satisfaction of seeing it sitting here. I'm expecting two things to happen today. My buddy Butch is bringing his boat over for me to clean out the carburetor because it won't run because it's been sitting for about 3 years. And I'm expecting a load of lumber, which is going to be the makings of my new building. And that's supposed to come today. So I'll run up there and crank the Rambler, put it right here. That way if he comes with the boat, we can back it right in the garage here. Hold up. So as you already know, Butch, anytime you come over here, I'm videoing something. I just happen to have the video camera rolling when you walk in the driveway.
We're going to video this on how to fix a 9.9.
Well, we can, or we can pretend it never happened just in case we can't get it to run. Then we won't be embarrassed.
Well, I think we're on a video.
Let's do it.
Hey.
So I'm going to just sit this here, right up here on a fender or something.
Do we start out by saying this engine has been sitting up for over 2 years out in the weather? In fact, the whole boat has been sitting out in the weather, and it's a summer project to see if we can get the Blue Goose to run once again.
Well, that's exactly how we'll start out. Since you already said it, especially.
It is special.
You've already put new plugs in it.
New plugs in.
You've already cleaned out the gas lines and replaced them.
Well, there's a new gas line.
Charlie had to come out and see what was going on.
It's got 4 screws holding the top on and 2 screws holding the bottom, and then that gets you to the carburetor. Now I brought some tools, but I didn't want to. I figured you had.
You don't need to get your tools
And
involved.
I didn't want to intermingle and we're yelling at each other about who's got who tools. You notice I'm taking a stand back approach on this. I've YouTube building a carburetor. Oh, it's simple. Yeah, okay. I was looking at it. It's simple. Don't drop this screw. You've got to use 2 hands to get into it. If you drop it, you'll never find it.
No, you'll
Anyway,
You'll have to dismantle the motor.
yeah.
Make sure you put these screws where you can find them because you can't find replacements.
Yeah, all that's true.
And I'm going, okay, all that's true.
Not in there.
Well, let's find something to put those in right away. Something we like. I think I might have a
Oh,
moonshine
there you are.
jar
What are you wearing there?
over here close by somewhere.
Let's go back in now.